What's going on, you guys? It's Dio with 926 here. I wanted to come on here and kind of explain the importance of us drafting an offensive lineman with that fourth pick in the first round of the NFL draft this year. I mean, I know a lot of people are calling for Isaiah Simmons, and of course that's the flashy pick that everybody wants. And like I said in my video before this, I would love to have Isaiah Simmons myself, but this offensive line has been in shambles for so many years that, eventually we have to address this in the first round. Yes, everybody can talk about Eric Flowers and how, the guy completely fell flat on his face, but, I mean, Eric Flowers was a panic pick. I mean, he really was. I mean, it seemed like any guy that spent any time watching any kind of football could watch Eric Flowers' tape, and you could see that the guy just wasn't going to succeed. Now, a lot of people say that Eric Flowers was put in a bad position. He was forced to play, left tackle, and he was just out of position from the start. And I guess, that some of that could be true considering he had a little bit of success with the Redskins last year. But to me, Eric Flowers is still not a good NFL offensive lineman, and it was just a bad pick by us. So to use him as an example for a player that was an offensive lineman that was picked in the first round by us, and for anyone that's a Giants fan to believe that's going to happen again, it's just a poor example to use, in my estimation. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about our offensive line and the shape that it's in, and basically what we have on this roster right now. And it's, you look at it on paper, it's really not much. I mean, a lot of people, they want to say that this line has a few pieces here and there, which I guess it does. If you want to call these guys NFL starters, I mean, that's completely up to you. But I mean, honestly, I only see two on this, three with Soldier, but. Soldier he hasn't lived up to what we signed him to be. He hasn't. Flat out, plain and simple, just has not lived up to that contract that we gave him. Obviously he was a system player when he was out there in New England, and playing with Brady and having Belichick as a head coach, definitely helped him out. Yeah, it definitely helped him get a nice little payday too. So, I mean, basically, you look at our offensive line right now, and I mean, I wanted to say this too. A lot of people say we should wait. We should draft Simmons, and we should wait later on in the draft to draft an offensive lineman or bring in a lineman or two, and the risk just goes up and up and up. The longer you wait, you want to grab one of these guys that is a big time prospect that a lot of these scouts believe can excel in this league. You don't want to wait. I know a lot of offensive linemen are drafted late and they do excel in this league, but I mean those guys, they're few and far between. It doesn't happen as often as you honestly think it does. But yeah, I mean the risk level definitely goes down if you draft one early. And that's just something we haven't had the ability to do in a while. Because honestly, like all the offensive linemen that we have liked in years past, like either somebody trades up to get them or they're taken right before we pick. And this has happened time and time again. And this is why our offensive line is completely just gone down the hole. And it's just completely fallen apart. And then we're forced to reach and take somebody that shouldn't be taken in that spot to begin with in the NFL draft. And it's just snowballed for us. I don't know how else to put it. We just have had terrible luck when it comes to drafting offensive linemen. But, me, I'm a Jedrick Wills guy. I've liked Jedrick Wills from the start. When I first started out, I liked Tristan Wirfs. He seemed like he would be a pretty good pick. But, I mean, Wirfs definitely needs some stuff. He's got some stuff that he needs to work on. He's got all the potential in the world. Out of the two, do I think Wirfs could be better than Wills? He could be. But as of right now, Wills is the better all-around prospect as far as plug and play right now. And yeah, I just feel like Wills is a guy that you could just put out there at right tackle, and he could definitely get the job done for you right now, and be a guy that can play there for a good amount of time. But with Wirfs, it's like he's got a few things that he needs to work on. His feet aren't necessarily the best, at least in my opinion, and he gets beat inside a lot from what I've seen. I mean, he's got some minor details that he needs to work out, and I'm sure he could probably go to an NFL team that could coach him up and make him a really good right tackle in this league. But yeah, I mean, with the fourth pick, I mean, I think we should go Wills all the way. But yeah, I mean, looking at our offensive line right now, we got Soldier playing left tackle. Soldier, I said it in my video before this one, Soldier, there were questions about him, last year. And he didn't play very well, not at all. And some rumors were going around this offseason about him possibly being let go or traded, this, that, and the other. I mean, that could possibly still happen. Who knows? But I mean, he's already walking a thin line right now. So I mean, that's our starting left tackle, and we don't have anybody else that could take his place as of right now besides Cameron Fleming, who we just added in free agency. But Fleming, he's had some starts, man, but he's not a guy that you want to continuously play your left tackle spot or your right tackle spot on your offensive line for your football team year in and year out. I mean, he's 28 years old on top of that. And that's the thing, man. We've got some offensive linemen on this team that are getting up there in years, like even Zeitler. I mean, Zeitler's, 30 years old now? Tops, I mean, he could only have like 2 or 3 years left of good football. That's it. That is it. So, we got Soldier playing left tackle. He's in question. He could be gone next year. So there's our left tackle, our starting left tackle that will most likely not be there next year unless he has a good year, this upcoming season. We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully he does. But, I mean, that's one guy that could be out the door. So, we move over to the right. You got Will Hernandez sitting there playing left guard. Will Hernandez, he's a young kid. He's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of power. Kid's strong. He's got all the ability in the world to be a good, left guard in this league. The guy he's kind of a little mentally unstable at times. He does some dumb stuff here and there, and he can be a little hot-headed. But I mean, I think he's going to be a piece on this offensive line for years to come. I would think. I hope. Considering we drafted him in the second round last year. You move over to center. And, Jalapillo, he's continuously hurt. To me, I wouldn't consider him a starting center in this league. He's just a guy. He's just a piece. He's just a depth piece on that offensive line, and that's it. And I mean, he's a good depth piece to have because he has NFL experience. So I mean, it's never bad to have those guys on your roster. Guys that have been in the fire and have actually been out there when it counts. So I mean, it's good to have him on the roster, but is he a starting center? No, he has no business being on the starting line. And I mean, we've had to deal with him the past couple seasons. He's had injury issues, and that's just not going to work out. So, considering we don't really have a center right now, and what I told you about, Soldier possibly being out the door after this year, I mean that's 2 of our pieces right there. 2 of our pieces that could possibly not be a part of this team next season. So, I mean, that's not good, man. We can't be fooling around with Isaiah Simmons. We can't even entertain the idea of drafting Isaiah Simmons. And we move over to right guard. We got Kevin Zeitler there. He is honestly the best offensive lineman this team has, hands down. He is reliable. He'll be there game in and game out. We got him in the Odell trade. The guy is just a good piece. Any NFL team would love to have Kevin Zeitler on their offensive line. I mean, he is the one guy that we can, put our stamp of approval on as far as having a good piece on this line. I mean, I can't say anything negative about Kevin Zeitler. We move over to right tackle. Right tackle, we had Nick Gates play there a little bit last season, and he showed some promise, but I don't know. He's kind of a mystery. Nobody really knows anything about Nick Gates. I mean, like I said, he showed some potential. Could he possibly be the guy there at right tackle? I don't necessarily think he is. I think he's going to be another depth guy on the offensive line. And maybe they put him at center. I don't know if they don't get a center in the draft this year. Maybe he moves over to center and learns how to play that position. And if that happens, hopefully he can play center and excel at that position. But yeah, I mean, after that, man, we've just got we got Spencer Pulley, we've got Chad Slade. A lot of these guys, I don't even know who the hell they are. Eric Smith, Tanner Volson, Nate Wozniak, and then that's it. That's all the offensive linemen that we have on this team. And then Cameron Fleming. So yeah, Cameron Fleming could end up playing right tackle, but that's not going to happen. I mean, if anything, Cameron Fleming's going to move over to left tackle if Soldier ends up leaving next year, which I don't necessarily feel very comfortable with that either. I mean, the line is just a mess, you guys. There is nothing stable about what we're bringing to the table right now when it comes to the offensive line. And our two biggest faces of this franchise, we've just picked the past, 2 previous years, and we've got nothing playing in front of them. So, I mean, we really need to stabilize that unit of the team in this year's draft. We have to do it. I mean, like I said, it sucks that we're not going to draft Isaiah Simmons. At least I don't think we're going to draft Isaiah Simmons. Because the offensive line is such a nagging issue right now that we just cannot get fixed. And we have to try our best this year, considering we drafted, 6 defensive players last season. We put some bodies on that side of the ball. Now we really need to focus on this offensive side of the ball and try to get it right. Because honestly, we get this line straightened out, the offense is not that far away. I mean, we've got all the pieces in the world on the offensive side of the ball. As long as Daniel Jones continues to progress and he turns himself into a good NFL quarterback, this offense has all the talent in the world. They might just need to add one more piece, but that's not going to happen in this draft unless we draft somebody. I would be okay in the 3rd round this year drafting a wide receiver because I know how much talent is in this draft as far as wide receivers go. And I wouldn't be opposed to them drafting somebody in the 3rd round. As long as it's a guy that they think could definitely be a difference maker in the future, I don't have any issues with them drafting a wide receiver. Just to pair up with Darius Slayton because, honestly, I know Sterling Shepard got a contract with this team. I just don't see him being here, when this team finally starts to turn the corner and be, a pretty competitive football team. I just don't think he's going to be here. I think Slayton's going to be here. I think Caden Smith's going to be here. Evan Ingram probably won't get re-signed. Then they'll add another wide receiver to the mix. Golden Tate will be out the door. He's not going to be here. They'll add that other piece to add to Darius Slayton and Caden Smith. And, I mean, they'll probably pick up somebody else to try to add to that wide receiver core. But, yeah, I just don't see, Sterling Shepard being here. Like I said, when this team finally starts to turn the corner, which could be next year. I don't think it's not going to be this year. It might not be next year, and maybe the year after that. And by that time, they could be trying to deal Sterling Shepard, or they just might just flat out cut him, to be honest with you. I don't know how many more years he has left on his deal, but I don't know. There's a lot of questions on his team, but I really feel like this is the draft that the offensive line needs to be addressed. I don't, as far as the defense goes, they're still young. They still need to improve. They need to play together and just become a good, cohesive unit. And it's just going to take time. And we just need to let those 6 players that we drafted last year, just play with one another and get familiar with one another and know what each other's thinking when they're out there on the football field. And it'll just get better and better as time goes on. I don't think we need to address it as much this year. Yeah, of course, pick up a couple defensive players, but we don't need to go ham like we did last year on it. We just need to focus on getting that offense fixed. I don't care if teams score freaking 70 points on us this year, because I just don't. I just want to get one side of the ball fixed, and then let's move on to the other side of the ball, and then let's get this team going in the right direction in all phases of football. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to come on here and try to clarify things as far as this offensive line is stacked up right now, and try to make people understand why drafting Isaiah Simmons isn't necessarily the best idea, because we continue to just ignore this offensive line. We're not going to win any football games, man. We're not. It doesn't matter if we have Isaiah Simmons, Khalil Mack, all these guys on the defensive side of the ball. You bring back freaking Charles Woodson, Deion Sanders, Ronnie Lott, Michael Strahan, Neil Smith, Derek Thomas. You bring back all these guys, man. I'm talking about just a bunch of different players from the NFL. You put all these players on our defense, it still wouldn't make any difference. But man, the team is just it's still got a lot of holes, and we need to focus on something and get it fixed. And we need to get this offensive line fixed. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is for the video. I hope I kind of helped you guys out a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and talk about that. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have a good night. Take it easy. And I'll see you in the next video. All right, see you. Bye.